It's a team game, isn't it? And if the instructions are to sort of keep the ball, Dimmy and, let's say, Patrick Roberts, they're going to be a little bit hamstrung by that instruction because they want to go past players and they want to get the ball in the box and we want to move forward as a team sort of thing.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And I think we can agree, based upon the last two performances, Birmingham City against Stoke and against Leicester, and actually before that against Port Vale, it's been a tough couple of weeks really for Birmingham City supporters. We've not been used to losing games since our successful League One season. And it isn't just the results, it's the manner of the performances that have been a bit of a concern for Blues fans. And in this podcast, myself and Matt are going to look at a number of ways in which we think that Birmingham City can improve in order to try and rectify these problems. Now, I've got some talking points, Matt, and if we go through, there's 5 talking points really, and we can just briefly talk about each one. Yeah. I'll list all 5 and then we'll start off on the one so the people, the viewers, can see what we're going to be talking about. So
before you do that though, Dad, I think it's just worth setting a bit of context here. You know, this isn't, I don't want this video to be like a negative, the wheels have fallen off, our season's collapsed kind of video. It's not that at all. We're actually very happy with Chris Davies and the team. There's just little clicks, I guess, that need to come together. There's little adjustments we can make as a team. I mean, we can all agree we need to, do better at set pieces, as an example. So there's all these different things I think we can agree as a fan base that we need to look at improving. So this video is just a conversation around little things that we've noticed. It's not a disastrous, the wheels are falling off, what do we need to do to turn this around? I just want to put that into context in there.
Of course not. I mean, all fans can see, we've got eyes, we can see what's happening, and so we can obviously have discussions about what we think needs to change.
You can just hear the comments, guys, disaster, guys, what's going
on?
No,
it's not. But I think people know the context of our channel, that
positive.
It's not about disaster. It's just about discussing the points and seeing and finding solutions. But these are the 5 talking points. And what I've called them: attacking stagnation, i.e. the lack of creativity in terms of goal chances, looking at our defence and the high press, set-piece problem, squad depth and player performance, and tactics and adaptability. So if it's okay with you, Matt, we'll go through each one of those one at a time. I'll sort of lead it and give you an overview, and then obviously we can sort of bounce a few opinions off each other in that. So we'll start off with the attacking stagnation and the lack of creativity up front. Yeah. But what do you think is happening? Why are we not creating chances at the moment?
I think there's a few things here. I think one, this isn't a dig at Chris Davies. Please don't take this the wrong way. But it is instructional. I think the boys have been told to keep the ball. Is it extreme, say, at all costs, or keep the ball, be extremely cautious? Because the amount of times we see our wingers go forward and they come back. You've referenced this countless times, Dad. We're at away games. We go up the pitch. We break the press. And it ends back all up. And it's almost like that mindset, attacking-wise, is they're so obsessed with keeping the ball and having high possession that they do the safety option. If you want to score goals, you have to take risks.
Yeah.
You have to have a seat at the table. And there's a few things I think we can do to improve that. Number one, and I think 99% of Blues fans acknowledge this, is tempo.
Yes.
We shift the ball too slow. We need to move that ball quicker. The amount of times I hear Blues fans at St.Andrews around us and away games, they're going, I can't repeat it exclusively, but it's like, shift the ball quicker. Yeah. I hear it all the time. So tempo is a big thing for me. Forwards, not sideways, is another one. And again, that plays into my kind of mindset area there. We go sideways, not forward. I want to see Dimmy and Patrick Roberts taking their man on, being a bit brave, dynamic, picking out Stansfield and Kyogo, because they make some fantastic runs, but we need to be brave enough to pick them out from time to time. And another one is physicality. I think sometimes we're a bit lightweight up top. I think, Dukes, and Dykes, I think they're both going to play pretty big roles this season. Again, it might be Dykes more so maybe off the bench. I think Dukes will have a bit more of a impactful position with us moving forward. But I think we need more physicality as well. I think it's noticeable, especially in the Stoke game and the Leicester game. We were just getting a bit bullied.
Yeah, you make some good points there. I like the point about tempo. That is so true. I think even Chris Davies, I remember him, I think it was after the Leicester game, felt that when we got into the final third, instead of increasing the tempo, we slow it down, and that's not good enough. You need to get the higher tempo. I think that's really important. Something you didn't mention that I think is important is decision making as well.
Yes.
Some of the decision making is awful. We're crossing the ball in when we do it to nobody. And then when there is somebody in there, we're not crossing it. And the runs that Kyogo and Stansfield are making are not getting seen, and that can be fixed. It's just decision making. And again, we mentioned this, Matt, in the preview video for Swansea. take shots. You know, you've got to take shots, and
You've got to be brave.
you've got to be brave.
Test the keeper.
Yeah.
How many keepers have we had this season? Dad? Probably most games. They haven't even really been tested.
No, I mean,
Consistently.
We mentioned as well 1.8 shots, average shots on goal in our first 5 games is the lowest in the whole of the championship. So we have to start taking more shots. I think that needs to be fixed. I mean, these are all, I know Blues fans will be saying, well, this is all obvious. And it is obvious because we can see it, but it's the players have got to do it. That's the thing. And I think also as well with Chris Davies, I do think we've brought in some good players as well. I like Patrick Roberts. I like Dimmy. So I think our wingers are good. We've got Keshi as well, don't forget. Fujimoto, he's a bit of an unknown at the moment because he was
What's
fit.
happening there?
He was fit apparently against Stoke, but he wasn't even picked in the squad.
Right. Maybe Chris Davies just doesn't fancy him.
I hope he doesn't turn out to be another Yokoyama or another player that just doesn't get in the team, but you never know.
That left back, he just came.
Mung Jae Lee.
He just disappeared out of nowhere, didn't he? He just like.
Well, he actually played in the South Korean national team. He did the other day. But anyway, so I think we've got the players up front, and I just think for Chris Davies' dilemma, it's actually getting the right mix. I would like to see a 2 up front. I would as well, but that would mean a change in formation, which we'll come on to later because that's another point. Let's go on to the second point. That's all right, Matt.
Please.
Okay, set pieces. Now, we can talk about this in 2 directions, our own set pieces and defending set pieces. Let's talk about our own set pieces first.
I mean, there's not much to say here apart from we're poor at both ends.
Yeah.
I think attacking-wise, when was the last time? I think I referenced this on a recent podcast, Dad. The last time we got a corner, and every time we got a corner, I thought we might score from it, was in the Eustace days. Because we used to score from set pieces. Because obviously that's part of the Eustace game, isn't it? You sit out of possession and you score from set pieces. That's part of the game. I get that. And I'm not saying I want Eustace back. Please don't take that out of context. I'm just saying the last time we were really dangerous from set pieces was 3-4 seasons ago. Yeah. And every time the ball goes in, Dad, it's just such an underwhelming experience. Isn't it? You should be battering teams from set pieces. It's such a key tool in your arsenal, sorry. And I definitely want to see some moves, some strategies. I mean, I've seen us try a few things, but they never work. I think the big thing for me, Dad, set pieces is just such a wasted opportunity. We could be scoring quite a few goals.
It is, and you look at the successful teams, the teams that do well, they've always got good set piece stats, and our set pieces are really, really poor. We don't look dangerous from set pieces. I mean, one of the issues we have got, and we've already referenced this previously, we haven't got an awful lot of height up front unless we've got Dutch on the pitch,
and generally
we haven't seen a lot, or Dykes. We haven't seen them on the pitch very often because it seems the preferred options are Kyogo and Stansfield at the moment, as things stand. That doesn't help us with set pieces. And I think when we go get corners, I don't think Clara and Neumann have been as aggressive as they normally, or a centre half should be. But a lot of teams score a lot of goals from set pieces, and we need to. I know other people have suggested that we get a set piece coach,
100%
as well. We suggested that right at the beginning of the season. We did, and I've noticed a few other podcasters have made that suggestion as well. Apparently, Jonathan Grounds is our set piece coach. Well, with respect, whatever he's doing, it ain't working, is it? Because we're not, and I think that is a real something we can and we should improve on. So that is got to be something to look at. And what about at the other end then, Matt? So what about defending set pieces?
Again, I don't want to blow this out of proportion, but I think we look vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think whenever a team gets a corner, I mean, look at the Stoke game, Dad.
Yeah.
Corner, Stansfield and Laird are on their biggest man. No one's protecting Allsop, and it just really sloppy. Defensively, that is a really sloppy goal to concede from a set piece. It was almost in slow motion the way the header went in. It was,
that was poor.
It was poor, and I think even in League One, Dad, I thought we looked vulnerable. I think that was one of our biggest Achilles heels. When teams went direct against us, we struggled, but that was kind of long balls, kind of set piece-ish, and then corners, long throws. We were particularly vulnerable from set pieces, weren't we? It's one of those things, if we're attacking a set piece, I feel really underwhelmed. I don't think much is going to come from it. And when we're defending them, I feel a little bit nervous.
Yeah, and there are two things. That one of them is where you can get lots of goals, i.e. in your own set pieces. And there's another one where you can stop a load of goals. If you don't get those right, then you're not scoring many and conceding more. So it just makes perfect sense that you work on your set pieces and try but that's been very, very disappointing for quite a while now, and we've known about it. We do need to get a specialist set piece coach to get that sorted out, and we need to move on. I've just realised I've done this in a different order actually, because I gave the list of 5.
I thought the defence was next.
It is. So I'm going to go back to that then. The defence and the high press. I've put them together because in this division we are pressing high, but when teams break that press, they are rapid coming forward, and that puts more pressure on the defence. Just give me some thoughts on that. I mean, the question is, in this championship, do you think the way we high press, do you think it's too risky given the opposition we're now playing? That's the first part of the question. And are the defensive players like Neumann and Clara adapting to the higher level of competition? Does the team need to find better balance?
I think Clara's doing just fine. I think he needs a left footer alongside him. And by the way, sorry Blues fans, you've probably heard this a lot from me and Dad over the last week or two, especially. But this is a hill I'm willing to die on. I've said this many times as well. That left footer of the centre back gives you so much balance. And I think Clara's doing just fine at this level, but he would be even more valuable and having a better season at the right side.
He's far more comfortable.
He's far more comfortable. We look more comfortable as a team when we have a left footer. And again, this isn't sour grapes over losing this person. I know some Blues fans wanted him, some didn't. That's fine. But when we did have Ben Davies with that left footer centre back, all right, let's ignore a couple of games there because everyone's entitled to a bad game. It just balanced us so much more, and I think that's key. And I think Neumann, just you question there was Clara and Neumann. I think Clara's doing just fine. I think Neumann generally is doing okay. He does look a little bit unsettled though, and a little bit unbalanced, and I think that's making us look a bit shakier at the defence than we actually are. Yeah. And I think a left footer in there would make all the difference, in my opinion. I don't know where Blues fans stand on that. I think we put that in yesterday's podcast as well. In terms of the press, Dad, I think it's not risky if you can score goals. It's not risky if you take shots. It's not risky if you actually have a bit of dynamism going forward, because the whole point of pressing high is if you do get caught out from the back, if you're an attacking team, you're still in the game because you can score a couple of goals. But it makes us vulnerable because if we concede, just going off the back of the 3 games we've had recently, where's that goal coming from? Where's the equaliser coming from? At the moment, I don't quite see it. So I wouldn't. We still need to high press. It's part of Chris Davies' DNA. It's not going anywhere. I still encourage us to high press, but it's that other side to the argument of it does make you more vulnerable. And if you're not scoring goals, it's definitely something to be cautious about, because at the Championship, teams are much better at doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really add much to that, really, because that's exactly my thoughts. I think that, the press will continue because that's what Chris Davies wants to do. But, we have seen that the teams in this division now are very rapid when they break the press. But that can work both ways, because we could do that as well.
Exactly.
So
at the minute, we're not.
Yeah, we're not. So
we do.
Apart from, the goal we scored against Blackburn at the end, that's a good example of what we should be doing more of. They had a corner. We broke, and we went at pace at them.
Dimmy.
I haven't seen that since then. And it wasn't just Dimmy. There was a whole round.
No, it wasn't. But
even Dykes was up because he scored the goal. Yeah.
Everyone was rapid to get up, but he kind of orchestrated it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And set the
standard. Laird as well. Laird was involved in that.
But Dad, what I will say as well, just because it's in the conversation of defence and kind of a bit of vulnerability, I think we also look vulnerable a bit to pacey wingers.
Yeah.
Cochrane against Manhoof was getting caught out. There's been a couple of games. Fatawu on the right-hand side against Leicester. Even last season, Dad, think about Ricky J. Jones, Poku. There was a couple of League One players that caught us out as well. Yeah. I'm just making a point. Sometimes when there's pacey wingers or pacey players, I think we can look a little bit vulnerable there as well.
Yeah, and that's where tactically we need to possibly look at doing something to mitigate that. But that's down to the team selection. Yeah. Okay, 2 more points, Matt.
You go first on these, Dad.
Okay, so this is squad depth and player performance. So, the recent losses have, actually sort of put the the microscope on certain players. We talked about Alex Cochrane and his vulnerability against pace, and obviously some of the other players are underperforming as well. But the player ratings against Leicester were poor across the whole squad. I suppose Damari Gray was the only one that had a half decent game, and against Leicester, and same against Stoke. Really, I think we just some of the players didn't seem to play to their very best. So the discussion really, is the squad depth big enough or strong enough to cope with the demands of the Championship? We know that the transfer window has just closed, so we have got what we've got now until at least January, and even in January we're not going to make loads and loads of changes. So this is our squad really, with a few maybe tweaks in January. So my question was, I'm going to ask you, which obviously I'll answer first now, is is the squad strong enough, or do we need, in certain areas, further strengthening? So my answer to that is I think we've already spoken about the need to strengthen already, have greater depth in certain areas, particularly at left back. We know that we've got players that we haven't seen very much of. We haven't seen Jack Robinson really, or Aaron Cashin playing in the at centre half, because Chris Davies seems to favour Clara and Neumann, which is his first choice. And also, I think players that we brought in yet, like Tommy Doyle. I don't think. I suppose there's no player that's came in, new player that's came in, that's really stood out for me. The only one player that I'd say has had some good games but not been overly productive is Damari Gray. I think he's created some good chances for but he's not he's not scored any goals yet. But I don't think at the moment
It's a team game, though, isn't it?
It is, but I think this is just new players settling in, but they also need to be given the opportunity as well. So at the moment, is the squad depth strong enough? I think for the Championship, I think it's. I think we've got better. I think we're stronger this season in terms compared to our team last season, but we are playing stronger teams.
Of course we are.
So have we made any massive improvements, based upon the difference in the opposition? I'd say probably slightly, but we haven't seen it yet because I think it's still early days, and we need to fix that quite quickly. But I do think there's positions that we need. I still don't think we've got the front line sorted out just yet.
I think the 10 is a role. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a couple of ready-made 10s, but it's just not. We haven't got a set 10, have we, that plays every game that is going to be really creative. No. I think Iwata's position as well, Dad, because if Iwata gets injured, there's no one else who breaks up the play like he does. Yeah. We have Tommy Doyle and Paik, who are very similar. And we also have Mark Leonard's that kind of player as well, the passer, with the playmakers, kind of moves the ball forward. But we don't have another Iwata. Left back as well is another position, Dad. I think actually, I take your point, but I think Dimmy's been good. I think Asoi Samuel's been good.
I think, fair enough. Yeah, he has been good.
I think Tommy Doyle's shown glimpses, but I think you're right, Dad. I do stand by your point. I think now's the time for those players to really step up and excel and show us what they're made of. But it's a team game, isn't it? And if the instructions are to sort of keep the ball, Dimmy and, let's say, Patrick Roberts, they're going to be a little bit hamstrung by that instruction because they want to go past players and they want to get the ball in the box and we want to move forward as a team, sort of thing.
And I think as well, Matt, they've got to be played in their right positions as well. So some players are quite adaptable. But I do think for me, Tommy Doyle, and I have mentioned this as well previously, Tommy Doyle for me is not a number 10.
No.
He is a proper central midfielder, a creative central midfield. You need him deeper in that midfield. So I don't think he's been played there. I still think Chris Davies is trying to work out how to play Dutch, Kyogo, Stano.
We had this last season with Alfie May.
We see it. And a lot of some people commented it was a mistake selling Alfie May. I personally, I see where they're coming from. He scored a lot of goals and that, but I don't really agree with that because would Chris, if he'd have stayed here, would Chris Davies really have picked him? And that's why he left, wasn't it? Because he wasn't getting first team football anyway.
Kyogo has had a bigger career than Alfie May, and he's not scoring goals because he's not getting the reception. Yeah. So Alfie May would just be in exactly the same position of running around like a headless chicken, but not getting any service.
Yeah. It's a tough
it doesn't
one.
matter. You could have Cristiano Ronaldo up front. If he's not getting service, he's not going to score goals.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? I think that's what Chris Davies' his dilemma is. He's got to try and get the mix right.
Yeah.
But also as well, we've mentioned the instructions that the players get as well. Are they stifling their ability to be creative and because they're so coached on keep the ball, pass, and they need to be like you need to like take the leash off them, I think, and just let them. Okay, of course they've got to be. In this league, you've also got to have the defensive side there, so you can't just go gung ho and be stupid. But when we've got an in possession of the ball,
you got to take risks.
Let's have a bit more freedom.
Take risks.
And take some risks and be a bit more creative.
I think a lot of Blues fans, or even football fans, this isn't even the Blues things, will accept their team losing the ball from time to time to run the risk of scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Take it past your man, try the through ball,
It's almost as like, when you're watching them, they're so frightened to shoot because they don't want to have to go in at half time and say to Chris Davies, "Oh, sorry, I lost the ball." It's almost like that, and they just need to shoot.
But possession don't win you games. A classic example, Dad, and by the way, I'm very wary of naming this name because Blues fans are like, Matt wants him back. I really don't. But look at Derby at West Brom, the weekend just gone. Derby won 1-0. Something like 38% possession. West Brom had like 15, 16 shots, 8 on target, or something like that, and they won 1-0.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You can have the ball as much as you like.
I thought you were going to say, let's have Ollie Burke back. I was wondering where you were going with that. You get destroyed if you do that.
The point stands, though, that you can have as much of the ball. If you're not going to shoot on goal or have any risk or take any chances, you're not going to win games. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I would like to see, Dad, a little bit. When we talk about squad depth and recruitment in January, I think we referenced this yesterday. I'd like to see a bit of physicality.
Yeah.
A little height. Some bigger players maybe. So when we do look at replacing Iwata or having an Iwata backup. Have him a beast of a centre midfielder.
It's like Wrexham, and a lot of people turn their eyes about him. A lot of people question Kiefer Moore, and look what he's doing. He's doing well. He's a target man. He's physical, and he's scoring goals at the moment. And now I'm not saying that's exactly the solution for us, but that's the type of player we need, a target man that knows where the goal is.
Well, I think as another strategy, you need a target man. I think Chris Davies' strategy isn't really target man-esque. It's more inverted wingers and then runs and passing. I mean, we haven't seen it yet in the Championship, don't get me wrong, but like, I think you need a target man as a plan B, as a plan C, or whatever. Sometimes in a game where you just need physicality.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be a target man kind of team as our A strategy with Chris Davies, but I could completely take your point, Dad. I think when you're struggling, look at Blackburn, Dykes comes on and scores the winner.
Yeah.
And he did make a difference when he came on because he held his own. He was physical. He was battering their centre halves. It makes a difference.
I mean, that partly brings us nicely onto the final point, actually, which is tactics and adaptability. And we interestingly, I read an article, and this is after we did our podcast in the post-Stoke game, and I mentioned that I think we were better off as a 3-5-2 formation. And interestingly, I read an article in the Birmingham Live where Chris Davies has acknowledged that he has got the players for a 3-5-2, but he said he prefers to stick with the system that the players know. And this comes down to this adaptability. So, as I mentioned, if you've seen that podcast, I think that we would be much better, much more attacking as a 3-5-2 because we've now got the players to do that. So you have three centre halves with a left-sided one in Robinson, Clara, Neumann, two flying wing-backs. And then obviously you've got your midfielders, and then you've got two up front.
I think, personally, just to jump in off the bat, I think that would be fantastic. Yeah. Personally, from what we've seen so far, because I think we are missing the extra person up the top of the pitch.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we definitely need some help up front, don't we? But Chris Davies in that article, if you haven't read that, I mean, it's a really interesting article in Birmingham Live, and Chris Davies actually said in that he prefers to stick with a system that the players know.
This isn't a knock, but surely you have to be adaptable. So, okay, let's say 4-2-3-1 is our favoured and Chris Davies' favoured formation. You can't just stick with that forever, and you surely have to adapt your tactics from time to time. Like some managers go 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 3-5-2. Like every game, they adapt it depending on their opponent. And by the way, I'm not suggesting we do that. If Chris Davies is confident and he's happy and he thinks he can get us to click in the final third, I'm all for it. But I think that's a little bit hamstringing your team a little bit by not. It's adapting your formation.
It's the fabled plan B, isn't it?
Something.
So what do you when you like a game like you've got like a Stoke or a Leicester, when you need to do something and you need to do something different, where's your plan B? Yeah. And that's where I think that Chris Davies, I think he's coming round to the fact that he needs to possibly look at other options. Really, I'm going to make this clear. I think he's the man to do it. I think he'll work it out.
I agree.
I think he's learning on the job. We've mentioned this plenty of times before. So he's definitely the guy, I think, to take us forward, but he does have to change and adapt quickly, because if we keep doing this 3-4-2-1 and it's three, yet isn't it?
4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. Yeah. So numbers. I've got 3-5-2. It's like a lottery in my head at the moment. Yeah. If we keep our usual formation, and he doesn't adapt, then if we're just pounding the rock as he refers to, and it's not having any effect, it's not breaking teams down. You can't keep doing it, because you're going to concede goals, you're going to lose games, and ultimately we know where that ultimately leads.
Yeah.
And I think it would do Chris Davies and the players, much more positive if at least when we were, like, say we go a goal down, we go, right, okay, this is now what we're going to do. And something else you mentioned as well in the past, Matt, the substitutions.
Oh, they're having no impact.
They have no impact whatsoever, and that is a real problem. Now, we saw when Ipswich, season before last, when they put their substitutes on, they changed games.
Yeah.
That's what you want your substitutes to do. Our substitutes are just coming on and carrying on with the same system and same thing prior to them being on.
Also, again, Dad, Davies isn't immune to criticism. I think some of the choices have been poor as well. Like, if you look at the weekend, he took Laird off and Patrick Roberts off, and he kept Cochrane on as an example. Whereas they were our two best creative players.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? It made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And again, Dad, completely appreciating he's learning as he goes. We said this. In fact, that quote about Davies made it into the Blues podcast, Dad, from you.
Which one's that?
It was about Chris Davies learning on the job. And,
on the documentary,
we're all kind of going through this journey together. And Davies is learning on the job as well. So
don't use that again.
But I mean, as a question, Dad, I guess it's a little bit hard to say yes or no. It's a little bit more of a multi-layered question. But do you think he's a stubborn manager?
Well, the only answer to that at the moment is yes, because he's not changed system, has he? And if we're if we're, going through games, getting 70, 80, 90 minutes and nothing's changing, I think he has made substitutions where I can't remember what game it was. He brought on Dykes and Dux together. Might have been the Cup, actually, against Luton. No, we didn't play Luton, did we?
Paul Vale.
Paul Vale.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So I think that's when we did. So, but that was too late in the day. But to me, not being stubborn is realising, you've got the system, the players are coached to the system, but you have got this plan B. You've got this idea that if this happens, this is what we're going to do, and the players know that as well. So at the moment, I would say, based upon that, we've seen very little apart from the current system. I'd say for formation-wise, the probably answer is yes. But then on the other hand, you think, well, he's trying to create a culture and a system for the team, isn't he? So in a way, what you can't do is you can't abandon the system every time it don't work.
100%. No, but I think what you're saying is so valid and so important. It's a plan B.
Yeah.
Stick with your 4-2-3-1. It was clear after 15 minutes at Stoke it wasn't working. You have to change things. And I think sometimes the subs and the changes come a little bit too late in the game to have impact. I want to see players come on around 65, give them enough time to have an impact in the game. When they come on at 75, 80 and they're burning the clock down, they have no time or chance to make an impact in the game. I want to see people come on a little bit earlier. But what I will say, Dad, just to give Davies a compliment, he did see it last season with the defence. He did change it. He put Davies left side of centre-back and it made a massive difference. There were little things that we noticed that he changed and it did make a big impact. But what I will back you up on for sure is, if you think about the EFL Trophy final against Peterborough, some of the games we lost, like your Charlton's away, it was clear as day that we were crying out for like an alternative strategy or something different. And we almost just persisted with it and the games all fizzled out and we lost. So just backing you up, I think we need a plan B. And football's football. You're not going to win every game when it isn't going our way.
It makes it easy for us to be played against, doesn't it? If teams know exactly what we're going to do and we're not going to change anything, all they've got to do is set themselves up. And if we don't change anything, you give them nothing to think about.
Exactly.
So I think, obviously, there's lots of things that potentially change. And even if the team were doing well, I'm sure there'd be things that we could comment on that could potentially change. But I think the last two games, I don't know what you think, well, 3 games really, have focused us on the fact that maybe, we're not going to have the lion's share of possession. We're coming up against stronger teams, and this is going to be a much tougher job this season
100%.
than it was last season, and hopefully make some changes, and we can see an improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, Dad, this isn't big things for me. I think this will click. It's kind of like last season when Alfie May was in the 10, Williamson was on the right, Stano was right wing, and we were just round pegs in square holes. He was sorting it out. We were trialing some things, and I think we're in that stage right now. I think he's figuring out his first number 11, starting 11. He's figuring out the sort of strategy of the Championship. It's a new level. It's a new season. I think this will click. I'm still really optimistic. I genuinely believe that. But there is definitely, we would be naive and ignorant to close our eyes and say there isn't a few niggles and problems that we need to iron out as a fan base. So that's all this video is about, looking at a few of these little things that we could maybe improve to make us a stronger Championship side. I'm confident. I think this will come. I think Chris Davies is the man to do that with us. And I still think we're in for a good season. I mean, are we in for an automatic promotion season? Arguably not.
No, I don't think so.
But are we in for consolidation mid-table around and then pushing on next season, the transfer market? Maybe. Yeah. Who knows where this season's going to go? But as I said, I am optimistic, and I think we're still in for a good season.
Yeah, and I think that sort of rounds things off quite nicely, really. We've only sort of identified a few areas where we think of what we've identified, and I think a lot of Blues fans, from what we've read in social media and everywhere else, have looked at the same type of things. But as always, we'd love to have your opinions. Let us know what you think about what we've spoken about in this podcast, any ideas that you might have, and please add a comment below. And it's always great to read your thoughts and your ideas. If you did like the podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcasts on Spotify, you'll find us on there as well. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these channels right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you'd like to, and there's absolutely no obligation whatsoever to subscribe, but if you'd like to, press that big red subscribe button. And if you hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, you'll get notified every time myself and Matt put a brand new podcast out. So that's it for this podcast. Myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.